So what we want to do now is we're going to put a little bit of our, we want to keep this neat. So we're going to put this in our trunk here with the plant. Because repotting can be quite a mess. So if you're doing this in your house, you can put out some newspaper, you can use a bucket. Let's see. So we've got our plant here. A little bit damaged leaf, but it's still attached, no disease present, so we're going to leave it. A little bit of damaged tissue there to remove so it doesn't rot. So you want to make sure your roots are evenly spread. You don't want to be crushing your roots and damaging them while you're putting them in the pot. Aerial roots that are already aerial, you don't want to just like put those under, because those roots have been adapted to higher moisture content, and these roots have been adapted to drier conditions. So you're basically just snugging it down a little bit deeper than it was, since these orchids do grow upwards, and it's going to continue and shed older leaves and older roots below. So this is about a good depth for this plant. So you're going to take some handfuls of your media. You're just going to start out by gently teasing it in between the roots. Sometimes it helps if it's a big plant and there's a lot of tight spaces, you can't get your fingers in there, to use like some sort of device like a wooden dowel or a knife, just to push the stuff in between those roots. Make sure that it's not compacted, but at least all those voids are filled. Nice blunt object works well. Plant is nicely snugged in. Sometimes if the plant has very few roots, it might be a little loose in the pot. There's clips that you can use. You could use little props like larger pieces of cork and just wedge those in there to keep the plant in the position that you want it to be growing. You want it mostly, for the most part, to be centered. You want the leaves and the weight of the plant to be balanced in your pot. And you don't need to fill your pot all the way. You want a little headspace so you're not losing media every time you water. So this is about where I want this one. Okay. Alrighty, so now that you've repotted your plant, make sure that you go ahead and you put a good label in it. And you want to put the date when you did your last repotting. My pencil. There we go. So today is February 6th, 21. Oh. I'm old. You're behind.
I tend to also tug on the plant a little bit once it's been in. Make sure it's in.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that the plant isn't going to just fall out of the pot when you're repotting. Sometimes it may look like it's secure. So just make sure that it's snugged in there nicely. And I like to shake, give it a little pull. You want to make sure that the media settles nicely into the pot. And when you go ahead and do your first watering, it's going to settle down a little bit as well. So now that you've done this is a major stress on the plant. You want to make sure that you don't go ahead and put this plant straight into full sun. You don't want to don't want to overwater it. Don't go ahead and fertilize it immediately. You basically want to keep it in a shaded location where it can recover. And until you start seeing new root growth from your root tips, just keep it in a sheltered location, evenly moist. And don't forget, it's easy to use a skewer now that it's in the pot to test your moisture level. See how it comes out a little bit damp. It's hard to tell on the camera, but it'll be light when you put it in, and when you pull it out, it'll be damp. A lot of the instructions that come with Phalaenopsis that you get from the grocery store, they talk about ice cubes. And just imagine like you only drank ice. This is a plant that comes from a tropical region. You're going to shock the plant if you give it cold conditions like that. So you want to, that's maybe the right amount of water. And if you're worried about overwatering your plant, just like think about how much water it takes to make an ice cube. Or just take an ice cube out and thaw it out ahead of time. And then water your plant. But this plant will hopefully be off to a healthy start and won't have any major setbacks from our repotting. So some people are going to put these back in their catch pots. Since we put this in a larger pot, it's not going to fit in our catch pot, but you want to make sure that when you're watering and it's in a pot like this, that you drain the water that's in your catch pot. That's one of your major reasons these orchids fail, is because they're sitting in standing water and they don't want to be waterlogged. So we hope that this video will be a good demonstration and help you to be successful with your orchids.